Cayman,
the voice,
the heart, the soul of the Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And RF Group, money at work.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record.
Hear from your government officials,
independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is the 10th day of November 2021, right here in the Cayman Islands. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the wet roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please, please, please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. If you're operating a vehicle, you drive with extra caution. Ensure that you leave that additional distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, because your ability to stop suddenly is reduced because the surface of the road is wet. So you need to allow yourself that more time to stop. But if you're keeping that safe distance, if you're being attentive to what is happening in front of you, what the vehicles in front of you are doing, you should not have a problem. But if you're out there trying to weave in and out of traffic, trying to stay on the ride the bumper of the car or the vehicle in front of you because you're trying to force them to drive faster, you're going to find yourself in some serious, serious problems. So ensure that you observe the rules of the road. The life that you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday to you as well. Those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you as well. We want to send out special condolences to the family of Miss Margaret, who worked at Owen Roberts International Airport. I think she worked for Cayman Airways as well. So we want to extend our condolences to the whole family, the entire family as well. If you're ill today, whether at home or at a medical facility, we want to wish you a speedy recovery. And of course, if you're in isolation or quarantine, we hope and we trust that you will be released soon as well. And I will share with you some information about quarantine and testing that has been issued by the Health Services Authority. That information was sent out after midnight last night So this is relatively new, and I will share that with you as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy and wet roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I'm your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. Those calls can come through our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. Where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Just to let you know, after our 8 o'clock news this morning, we expect to have in the studio with us Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Joey Hugh, as well as MP, Honorable Dwayne Seymour will be in the studio with us after the 8 o'clock news this morning. So, folks, firstly, let me share with you what the Health Services Authority here in the Cayman Islands has put out in relation to exit testing pilot that is being rolled out in the districts for COVID-19 positive persons. And it reads, COVID-19 positive individuals due for exit PCR testing on or before Wednesday the 10th, that is today. So if you do for exit PCR testing either today or before today, you should attend one of the following location testing. So between 11 a.m. this morning, right, and 1 p.m. in the afternoon, 10th of November, you either go to the Ed Bush Sports Complex, the Bordentown Civic Center, the South Sound Community Center. And it goes on to say that once tested, individuals must return home and isolate until further instruction. Individuals due for exit PCR testing include vaccinated persons who tested positive on Saturday, the 30th of October. Vaccinated persons who tested positive on Saturday, the 30th of October. Also includes unvaccinated or partially vaccinated persons who tested positive on Tuesday, October 26th. Also, unvaccinated adults, that is, if you're 18 or over, household members of a positive person. And the categories of those persons are fully vaccinated persons or unvaccinated children eligible and currently testing negative for daily lateral flow testings do not need a PCR test. So I'm going to repeat that part because I think it's important. Fully vaccinated persons or unvaccinated children eligible and currently testing negative for daily lateral flow tests do not need to attend. The release goes on to say that the public health will offer exit testing at these district locations in efforts to allow for persons to receive their test results faster. And that quote is from Dr. Erica Simmons, Acting Chief Medical Officer of Health, and goes on to say public health has previously been testing at residences of positive households. However, this has increasingly become a challenge due to the vast increase in the number of community positives. We will continue to revise our testing protocols and processes in order to improve our service to the community. We understand the difficulty within which these changes affect all persons concerned. However, we continue to appreciate the public's patience and understanding while we all navigate these unprecedented times. After this pilot testing clinic is conducted, public health will advise further any changes in the exit testing procedures. Goes on to say that the afternoon testing clinic is for exiting testing for community cases only. Right? I'm going to repeat that. The afternoon testing clinic is for existing The afternoon testing clinic is for existing testing for community cases only. Individuals requiring regular PCR screening are encouraged to schedule an appointment online. And you do that by going to www.hsa.ky/appointment. Or you can visit the Health Services Authority COVID testing walk-in clinic at the Cayman Islands Hospital, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. until 12 p.m. They've also issued instructions as far as isolation requirements for COVID-19 positive persons. Fully vaccinated individuals are required to isolate for 10 days with PCR test on day 11. Individuals who are not fully vaccinated are required to isolate for 14 days with PCR test on day 15. And they also pointed that you should note that the day of your original PCR test is considered day 0. So you don't count that day. That's day 0, the day of your original PCR test. Okay? I trust that you find that helpful. I am going to repeat the first part of it because this takes place today between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. and it's a pilot exit testing pilot in the districts for COVID-19 positive persons. COVID-19 positive individuals due for exit PCR testing on or before Wednesday, the 10th of November, 2021. So, if you are due for exit testing tomorrow, the 11th of November, or the 12th of November, the next day, this does not apply to you. It is only if you were due for exit PCR testing today or before today, right? And if that is the case, you should attend one of the following locations for testing between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Here are the locations: the Ed Bush Sports Complex, the Bordentown Civic Center, and the South Sound Community Center. Those are the locations, and I am certain that once you go there and you're tested, instructions will be given to you what you should do after that. But here they have included the fact that once you are tested, you must return home and isolate until further instruction. Those persons who are due for exit PCR testing include vaccinated persons who tested positive on Saturday the 30th of October, unvaccinated or partially vaccinated persons who tested positive on Tuesday the 26th of October, unvaccinated adult household members of a positive in the above categories as well. Fully vaccinated persons or unvaccinated children eligible and currently testing negative for daily lateral flow tests do not need a PCR test. Folks, with that, we're going to take our commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Charles Joseph Henry Goring Sr., 1873 to 1937. Mr. Goring was a Barbadian who arrived in the Cayman Islands in the 1890s. He was a teacher in his own private school and one of the 2 law agents of the time. Older Caymanians say that he was the foremost spokesman for the poor people. Commissioner Cardinal, addressing the assembly on the occasion of Mr. Goring's death, said he probably was the most prominent member of the community. He was a Barbadian, but had settled in Grand Cayman for well over 30 years. He had identified himself in public life from the beginning, first as a schoolmaster and then a law agent. He had also been elected member of the vestry for over 25 years. And although at times a critic of the government, no man was more staunch and faithful in his loyalty. He had traveled widely in South America, the United States, and parts of Europe, and was a very well-dressed man.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
The Rotary Central Music Extravaganza 2021 tickets are here. Get your $25 ticket and stand a chance to win the grand prize of $40,000, second prize $4,000, and 6 $1,000 prizes. The Music Extravaganza music event, Saturday, November 27th at Salty's Grand Harbor, featuring CNB, Deja Blue, The Fabulous 68s. Tickets now on sale by Rotary members, authorized ticket sellers, and at eventpro.ky. 26 years of Rotary Music Extravaganza, funding over 70 community projects of significance since 1995. Rotary Central, Cayman Islands. Registered not-for-profit number 232. Rotary Central. Serve to change lives.
Had a look at those investment options yet?
Too busy. Look at today. Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed.
That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
West Bay, home to Barkas National Park, the touristy flair, a family community, a political powerhouse. From sports enthusiasts to car aficionados, affection for silver thatch rope. No matter how far you may venture, West Bay will always be where the heart is. Home will always be in West Bay. West Bay Pharmacy, caring for your home and your family. West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient, quality care is just around the corner.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vamp Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vamt Motors, Walkers Road.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Brand Source Home Gallery is celebrating their 52nd anniversary with a 15% off store-wide sale this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday only. Yes, 15% off everything in store. Appliances, vanities, sinks, housewares, mattresses, plumbing fixtures, barbecue grills, and more. Brand Source Home Gallery store-wide sale, 3 days only. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Hurry! Don't miss this opportunity to save 15%. Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Call 949-5211.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I want to remind you that the Deputy Leader of the Opposition and the Honourable Joy Hugh, as well as MP, Honourable Dwayne Seymour, will be in the studio with us, or expected to be in the studio with us after the 8 o'clock news. Meanwhile, you heard earlier, right here on Radio Cayman, the profile of Mr. Gorin, and I'm going to share with you what was published in the Tradewinds newspaper in 1965 in relation to Mr. Gorin as well. And that was a Cayman profile at the time. And it reads, I think I shared this with you once before, but we can never, ever promote our heroes in Cayman and our persons of prominence in the Cayman Islands. We can never overdo it. So I'm going to share it with you. When the name Goring is mentioned amongst Caymanians, we quickly revert our thoughts along the pages of history and find that there is only one man by that name who stands out in a solitary manner. Such person is the late Mr. Gorin, who landed on Cayman soil towards the close of the 19th century. He was a Barbadian by birth, and in London, where he schooled, he acquired an education which has not been equaled by anyone else that has resided in our little island. He mastered 5 languages and even instructed his pupils in navigation. His profession was that of a school teacher, but he was indeed so versatile that we wonder sometimes how one person could be capable of absorbing such a degree of knowledge. Apart from teaching, Mr. Gorin dispersed his interest in other channels. He mastered the legal profession and was an accomplished musician. Mr. Gorin's wife was known as Winnie Linwood, and from that union was born 7 children: Clifton, Melvin, Huxley, Ransford, Ferdinand, and 2 daughters, Carmine and Edith. Of these children, there is only one who decided to remain in the islands, where he has become an outstanding carpenter and is a devoted member of the Church of God. The other children have all gained fame abroad. This man of renown did not perceive his profession from a financial standpoint, but it appears as though he emitted a spark which has given light to the pathway of every one of his scholars, among whom are outstanding citizens Elroy Arch, Val Henderson, Thomas Dias, Alvis Smith, and the late Cyril Coe, and many more. And hereafter, Luke, when thou art gone away, should evil men be thy companions, hither turn thy thoughts, and God will strengthen thee. Those are the words of Father Michael to his son Luke when the young boy was on the verge of his departure to the open world. Goes on to say, to seek a livelihood. Those words were to have been a guide to Luke, but unfortunately he followed the crowd and became a vagabond. It appears as though the words have always been ringing in the ears and memory of all members of Mr. Goring's school after they launched out into the world and into the avenues of prominence and distinction. And if there has ever been a foreigner who has left his footprints on these sand of time, Mr. Goring has, and Cayman will always respect and do honor to his name for having devoted his entire life to the benefit of Caymanians and thus shaping our destiny. And shape our destiny he certainly did, because you heard of all those outstanding Caymanians who were students of his, and I will repeat some of those. Mr. Elroy, the late Elroy Arch, Val Henderson, Captain Thomas Dias, Mr. Alvis Smith, and the late Cyril Coe. And it says many, many more as well. And folks, I know there are many of you out there listening, some who may know more and have more history. I am just sharing this from the Trade Winds newspaper. I am not the author of it. Any inaccuracies in it or any omissions in it, please do not attribute them to me. I am only sharing a piece of Caymanian history with you as published in the Trade Winds newspaper on Thursday, the 4th of November, 1965. Miss Susan, you're not ready for me yet, are you? Okay, so folks, we're almost to the top of the hour for the 8 o'clock news. Remember, we will have the Leader of the Opposition as well, Mr. Joey Hugh, as well as MP, Mr. Dwayne Seymour, in the studio with us after the 8 o'clock news. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time by Foster's is 7:58.
For Thanksgiving, are you thinking roast turkey or glazed ham?
Ooh, let's go turkey.
Great. Now for sides, let's do scalloped potatoes, mac and cheese, and steamed herb vegetables.
Yum.
And for dessert, should we go apple or pumpkin pie?
Pumpkin for sure. But when will you have the time to cook this feast?
Oh, I won't be cooking. I'm ordering a holiday dinner from Foster's. They start from just $79.99 and are easy to order online. Just head to fosters.ky.
Easy, delicious Thanksgiving holiday dinners only from Foster's.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky.
Do you know how well your pension plan performed? Attend the Chamber Pension Plan's annual general meeting to stay informed and find out how you can achieve your desired retirement lifestyle. Members are invited to meet our trustees and take part in our question and answers segment on 1st December 2021 at 6:30 p.m. at the Chamber of Commerce Boardroom in Governors Square. Refreshments will be served. Please visit our website chamberpension.ky or email admin@pensions.ky for further details. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The Ministry of Tourism says while the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's recent travel advisory for Americans to avoid the Cayman Islands is, quote, regrettable, its recommendation that visitors be vaccinated is in line with Cayman's own phased border reopening policy. Radio Cayman's April Cummings reports.
This week, the Cayman Islands became one of 80 countries around the world on the list of level 4 countries, which currently includes the UK, Ireland, and Switzerland, along with 15 of our Caribbean neighbors. The November 20th reopening policy stipulates that all visitors to Cayman must be fully vaccinated and present a negative PCR test taken within 72 hours of arrival. Travelers who arrive prior to the reopening date are required to quarantine for periods of 7, 10, or 14 days depending on their status. The ministry is stressing that the move to level 4 does not automatically mean that the Cayman Islands tourism industry will be negatively effective. The ministry says being at level 4 has not been shown to have any long-term or immediate negative impacts on the economies or tourism products of competitors who were placed there before Cayman and are now at level 3. The Cayman Islands is expected to follow suit. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
And COVID-19 positive individuals due for exit PCR testing on or before today should attend Ed Bush Sports Complex, Buntown Civic Center, or the South Sound Community Center today between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Once tested, you must then return home and isolate until you get further instructions. Individuals due for exit PCR testing includes those who are vaccinated and who tested positive on October 30th, unvaccinated or partially vaccinated persons who tested positive on October 26th, and unvaccinated adult household members of a positive case. If you are fully vaccinated or you are an unvaccinated child eligible and currently testing negative for daily lateral flow testing, you don't need a PCR test. After this pilot testing clinic is conducted, Public Health says it will then further advise of any changes to exit testing procedures. If you need to book a PCR test, you're encouraged to do so online by visiting hsa.ky/appointment. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Moira Alderson. The UN says world leaders meeting at the COP26 climate summit must make meaningful and measurable cuts to carbon emissions to stand any chance of limiting catastrophic rises in global temperatures. In the first draft of a potential agreement, the UN called for the phasing out of coal and fossil fuel subsidies. Environmental groups said the draft deal still looked like a case of hoping for the best. A court in Thailand has ruled that calls for reform of the monarchy's role in politics made at a demonstration last year were unconstitutional. It said the protest leaders had been trying to overthrow the current system and ordered them not to make similar comments again. One of Germany's most prominent virologists has warned that another 100,000 people in the country could die from COVID-19 if nothing is done to halt a recent surge in cases. Germany has registered its highest infection rate since the pandemic began as the country grapples with a fourth wave. The European Union and Russia are blaming each other for a migrant crisis at the border between Poland and Belarus. A spokesperson for Chancellor Merkel of Germany said she'd told Russia's President Putin by phone to stop exploiting the migrant situation. Britain's Supreme Court has ruled against allowing a mass legal action against Google for alleged secret tracking of iPhones. Google had been accused of illegally gathering the personal data of millions of iPhone users through the Safari browser. The Swedish Prime Minister Stefan Löfven has resigned in a widely expected move to pay the way for his designated successor, Magdalena Andersson, ahead of next year's general election. If, as expected, she wins a vote in Parliament, Sweden will become the last of the Nordic countries to appoint a female Prime Minister. That's the latest BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky.
Do you know how well your pension plan performed? Attend the Chamber Pension Plan's annual general meeting to stay informed and find out how you can achieve your desired retirement lifestyle. Members are invited to meet our trustees and take part in our question and answers segment on 1st December 2021 at 6:30 p.m. at the Chamber of Commerce Boardroom in Governors Square. Refreshments will be served. Please visit our website chamberpension.ky or email admin@pensions.ky for further details. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
You can now register online to receive a securely verified digital copy of your COVID-19 vaccination status with QR code through the My HSA patient portal. Sign up is available online and at all HSA locations. All you need is your photo ID showing date of birth and an email address. Visit hsa.ky and click the My HSA patient portal icon to get started.
The technology sector is forecast to be one of the fastest growing industries in the next decade, with more jobs available than skilled people to fill them. Enterprise Cayman is helping to fill this void and grow the next generation of Caymanian innovators, giving young people access to high-quality learning experiences with the opportunity to pursue careers in technology and innovation sectors. Learn to code, how product development works, enter professional competitions, access high-tech resources, network with special economic zone industry professionals, and much, much more. Visit enterprisecayman.ky to find out more. Brought to you by Cayman Enterprise City.
All the world's greatest inventions were initially misunderstood.
Compu what?
Except for KFC's Pizza, a pizza made with all chicken and no crust, tomato sauce and pepperoni, topped off with delicious melted cheese. An invention that is understood from the very first bites. Pizza from KFC. No need to explain. You just need to taste it.
Try Pizza at KFC Shedden Road and KFC Baytown today.
Study local and go far this spring. Want to start your bachelor's or associate degree or just need a few classes to complete? Registration is now open for spring classes at UCCI. Scholarships are available for the spring semester, but you need to act now to meet the deadlines. Visit www.ucci.edu.ky to enroll now. Classes begin January 10th. Enroll by December 1st for a chance to win an iPad or a laptop.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
Pan American Life Insurance Group can help you take your employee benefit solution to the next level. For more than 110 years, millions of people have trusted PALIG because we've always delivered on our promise. PALIG is the only insurer providing group policies to as few as 3 employees and has the ability to combine life, health, disability, and income protection to provide you and your employees with a complete employee benefits package. Let us customize your employee benefit solution today. Call us at 949-8304 or visit our office at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, or visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life. People you can trust for life.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 77 degrees. Relative humidity is 91%. The barometric pressure is 29.98 inches and falling. The wind is out of the east-southeast at 12 knots. Overnight low temperature was 76 degrees. Overnight rainfall was 0.17 inches. Synopsis indicate isolated showers along with moderate northeasterly winds and seas are expected today as a residual moisture moves over the area from a dissipated front near Jamaica. Satellite images show mid to high level clouds over the northwest Caribbean, with some thunderstorms noted south and west of Grand Cayman. Now the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 40% chance of morning showers and some thunder, and temperatures will rise to the mid-80s. Winds will be northeast at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Tonight, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers and temperatures falling to the mid-70s. Winds will be northeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Low tide will be this morning at 8:35, high tide this afternoon at 3:44, and a low tide again tonight at 10:18. The sun will set this evening at 5:47 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:32. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Friday morning.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
We at Pan American Life Insurance Group are here to help you protect your family and your income. For more than 110 years, millions of people have trusted PALIG because we have always delivered on our promise. Life insurance is not only about death, but also about living benefits. We'll help you secure the life insurance, accident and sickness disability income you need to protect you and your family. Call us today at 949-8304 or visit our office, Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, or visit www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by Encourse Cayman. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving your goals is a very rewarding feeling, but at times can feel very frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, celebrate your progress. It's important to acknowledge progress each step of the way as you achieve your goals. Everything that you do to move in that direction gets you a little closer. Planning small rewards along the way can help to keep things interesting and give us a taste of what sweet success will be like.
Change your thinking and change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by Encourse Cayman. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. Encourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups.
Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. On Course Cayman. Health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look what's happening on the roads. Our traffic cameras are up now. Busy traffic on the Linford-Pearson highways. Slight delays expected. Roads are wet, so please drive with extra care. Traffic also busy coming from the east on Crew Road. Eastbound traffic on Crew Road is moving on moderately. And traffic busy coming off of Agnes Way. As we look to Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, traffic is flowing moderately. Little steady but flowing traffic on Huldah Avenue. On the West Bay Road and from the Ritz, traffic moving on moderately in both directions. Into Georgetown on Shedden Road, not looking too bad, as traffic flowing nicely. Light to moderate traffic flow on Owen Roberts Drive. As we look to Edward Street, traffic is moderate. And that's the very latest on your traffic. If you see any accidents or incidents on Cayman's roads, give us a call here at Radio Cayman, 949-6990. Drive safe, Cayman Islands, and click it or ticket.
At Subway, we caramel a lot about our customers, so we decided to give you 2 treats in one with the new Caramel Apple Cookie. Enjoy cinnamon apples, caramel bits, and salted caramel crunch baked in, and topped with a drizzle of caramel-flavored icing. Gooey, crunchy, and yummy. Complete your Subway sandwich, pizza, or salad with the delicious Caramel Apple Cookie or any other cookie flavor and dessert, available for a limited time at all Subway locations. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
To those affected by a hurricane, the damage is far greater than the eye can see. It's the helplessness and uncertainty you feel when you have no electricity or running water. It's the pain of experiencing damage to your home. But there are people right here that can help. We're CG Britke. We're your neighbors. We live here and work here too. We're always ready to answer calls and to process your claims as quickly as possible. So when a storm turns your life upside down, we're here to turn it around. CG Britke. Good like that.
The Rotary Central Music Extravaganza 2021 tickets are here. Get your $25 ticket and stand a chance to win the grand prize of $40,000, second prize $4,000, and 6 $1,000 prizes. The Music Extravaganza music event, Saturday, November 27th at Salty's Grand Harbor, featuring CNB, Deja Blue, the Fabulous 68s. Tickets now on sale by Rotary members, authorized ticket sellers, and at eventpro.ky. 26 years of Rotary Music Extravaganza, funding over 70 community projects of significance since 1995. Rotary Central, Cayman Islands. Registered not-for-profit number 232. Rotary Central. Serve to change lives.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Today, Wednesday, the 10th day of November 2021. And as promised, in the studio with me, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Joey Hugh, and Member of Parliament, Honourable Dwayne Seymour are in the studio with us. Gentlemen, good morning. I'll say to the Deputy Leader, welcome back. And I can say welcome back to Mr. Seymour as well, even though it's probably been a longer period of time. But it's great to have both of you in the studio. And I just want to mention the fact that the Leader of the Opposition issued a press release yesterday, the 9th of November, and he spoke on the escalating community spread of COVID-19, as well as the Center for Disease Control Level 4 travel advisory for the Cayman Islands as well. So that press release has been put out there. So, gentlemen, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you for having us again. We'll see. Always a pleasure to be here with you. There's, I guess, one of the things that we want to touch on this morning is the uncertainty that many in the public are feeling or have expressed. We were chatting before the show started, who certainly have expressed to us as representatives, and I think you're getting the same sort of sentiment on your show. Mm-hmm. And that is concerning. We understand that the government have a job to do. I know that they are under a tremendous amount of pressure with having to provide a budget to us very soon. We've had indication that as early as a week from Monday we could be at Parliament. Hopefully we will get an opportunity to review that budget prior to, which is normal standard. We would publish a budget for a period of time to allow, I know, historically organizations like the Chamber of Commerce and others like to have a look at the budget prior to it going to the House. So we're eagerly awaiting that to see what they will produce as a budget. On top of that, they have the current situation with COVID-19 and community outbreak, and of course the much anticipated opening in just 10 days from now. Happy to report, and we did graciously accept and attended a meeting with facilitated by the Premier with the Civil Service.
Excellent.
And we had an overview of the reopening plan with a lot of the details still to be presented. We have not seen those details. I've seen one or two things pop up in the press this week, further outlining the reopening plan, such as the proposed testing for day 2, 5, and 10. Other than that, we have not seen any details. I did have an opportunity to meet with several people in the hospitality industry who are also feeling that they have not received the full details as yet. There's a lot of questions to be asked about who carries out the testing on day 2, 5, and 10. Is it mandatory? Is it voluntary? Who pays for these testings? Is this just for the large hotels, or is it for all Airbnbs, individuals, small condominiums with less than 50 guests? Who is it applicable to? And what do you do if someone tests positive, or what do you do with the results? Are these reported as part of the testing procedure, or is this just a preventative thing where you do a lateral flow test and and it's not, is it mandatory or not mandatory? I think they may have a little bit of a challenge to tell tourists that it's mandatory that you have to do 2 to 3 tests during your vacation. And then, of course, you have to do, perhaps it will coincide with their exit tests, which provides another challenge where that exit test can be a lateral flow test, but it has to be done by a authorized clinic for re-entry into the United States. So, I was reading the article this morning in the KMI Compass about the success of BVI. Turks and Caicos, actually. My apologies. And one of the things they talked about was they actually trained the staff in the hotel spas to administer lateral flow tests. And it became an official test that persons could do for their exit. If they're feeling ill during their stay, they could go to the spa to be tested. Or for their exit test, they could go to the spa and get a formal exit test done, lateral flow test done to get re-entry into the United States.
So we may not have to reinvent the wheel after all.
We may not have to. And I think it's important. They didn't mention anything about testing during the stay. I think it's something that they have to consider if we look at the pressure on the infrastructure at the moment with getting tested and getting our hands on, I know it's settled down now with getting our hands on lateral flow tests. But even so, going down to the clinics to be tested, people are having to take half days off work and line up for a couple of hours, etc. If we're going to add a couple hundred tourists to this every 2, every 5th, and every 2nd, 5th, and 10th day, then I can't imagine what the lines would be like, and is this the kind of experience we want for our tourists and the kind of inconvenience for our locals having to line up with them. So perhaps they are thinking about it, but again, these are the things the questions we're being asked every day, and we feel fairly, I feel quite sometimes awkward that I can't answer these questions for persons, and I can only sit and listen to them vent and offer, some comfort that I'm sure that they are working through these things. But again, we have to come on to the radio shows and we have to ask these questions on behalf of the persons that are asking us to. And another thing to consider, OC, is the lateral flow test. We're hearing from families now that need the lateral flow test but can't afford them. The prices are anywhere from $6 to $11 to $15, and then are resorting to going down to the clinics and getting the PCR test and then having to wait several days. I think it's leveled out now. You get it within a couple of days. But that's $130 the government is paying for that PCR test, and it's adding additional pressure to that testing regime. Why aren't we making these tests readily available, free of cost, the flow test to persons? That's if it costs the government $4 a test, which I think is a going wholesale price. Isn't that cheaper than $130 PCR test? So, these are some of the things we have to consider. And when we're talking about bringing a few hundred more people onto the island, perhaps thousands, we have to identify these pressure points. We have to identify these bottlenecks where we can have issues. And we only get one chance at this. Yes. OC. If you read that article and about other jurisdictions and TCI in particular, celebrating their success off the backs of jurisdictions that are still closed, like Cayman. Right. It's going to be a challenge to get those people back. In fact, I think the Compass quoted one family that visited Cayman annually and have been to BVI twice now since they have reopened and have fallen in love with it. We spent years and had a little bit of fortune or a little bit of assistance with some of the storms, etc. Right. The regional challenges that allowed us to attract people to Cayman. And then when we got them here, we made them 50% of our guests were return guests. That wasn't by chance. That's a lot of hard work. That's a statistic that no other countries can really boast about. But that trend is reversing now, where we're going to have to work twice as hard now to attract those persons back here or to attract new people to the island. And my point on that is that we only have one chance at this. If we are going to open, let's do it properly. We only have one chance at this. I understand that there are major concerns about what is being proposed at the airport as far as the handling. I understand that this seems to be controversial contract signed by the airport's authority for this scheduling with this scheduling company is part of their solution or their concerns about having long lines at the airport. Because if you're telling everyone that you have to be vaccinated to come on the island, you'd had to be tested to get on a small plane to arrive here, sit by each other, etc. I hope they're not going to make people line up 6 feet apart and out into the parking lot and across it, You can't do that. You've taken all of the precautions that you can. You've asked them to get tested before they get on the plane. They've sat on the plane side by side with each other. Yes. When they get here, let's make it as efficient. If we want to be cautious with them, let's get them out of the airport as quickly as possible. Let's get them out of the airport as quickly as possible. And when they're leaving, they've tested negative before they've come to the airport to get on the flight. Let's get them onto the plane and back home as quickly as possible. And those are the concerns I'm hearing from the industry, that if we are going to open in 10 days, we need some certainty over how these things are going to be handled, and let's do it properly. We only get one chance at this. No one wants to see this fail. No one wants to see us go back into lockdown. Everybody wants the same thing in this. There's just way too much uncertainty at the moment as to how we're going to accomplish that.
And again, talking about not having to reinvent the wheel, we see the United States have now opened up their borders to certain countries that were nationals were not able to fly there. So again, we can look and see what the procedures are there. So as far as airports and aircraft are concerned, it should be a universal standard that is set for everyone, I would imagine.
I would think so. I mean, if you're going to go through it on one end to depart, to arrive in Cayman, then it should be uniform all the way through. But my views on that, again, is you've taken the precautions. You've told them to be tested before they get on the plane, so you want to assume that they're pretty safe on the flight. Then let's get them out of the airport and get them into their hotel room, onto their resort, onto the beaches, getting some vitamin D and keeping the virus at bay and enjoying their vacation.
Yeah, and we'll see if I may say, good morning to people of the Cayman Islands and especially Bordentown East. One of the things that I note, and I know people are concerned about the opening on the 20th of November, and they have a right to be, and mainly because all of the community spread that's happening right now, no one knows exactly where they're picking up COVID right now. It's all over. And one of the statistics that I note, OC, in talking about traveling and etc., is that there were 669 community spread, but only 9 travelers were positive.
Yes.
So that, I think, should allay some fears about persons arriving here, because there's such strict regulations for people to arrive here. Like the U.S., you have to be fully vaccinated or tested. So I think at some point we need to open, and I think we can see what actually happens when we're unsure about the actual date, and changing the date. It really disrupts the international flow in terms of airlines, etc. Because now what we have is American Airlines not coming this year, possibly Delta Airlines not coming this year, and possibly United. Although we have JetBlue coming in WestJet and Southwest and possibly Air Canada, and Cayman Airways seems to fill in some of those slots, which is good for Cayman Airways. But I think some of the airlines, they're having problems with staffing. So that's why some of them, American Airlines and Delta and those, they're having trouble with crew, flight attendants and so forth. There's a shortage there in terms of them getting vaccinated, etc. So I think what people of the Cayman Islands want to see is for the government. We're the opposition, and we'll have our say, but the government will have their way. And so we try to come on here to try to assist and to try to defend the Cayman Islands, and to try to give information to the people of this country, to try to calm their fears, etc., just as we did when we were the government. And simple things such as masks, we really don't see I don't see the effort being put into ensuring that every constituency office is given masks to ensure that we can actually ensure that persons, when they're out and about, because I see a lot of people coming to the bank or otherwise, even when I'm in there, and they get to the door and they come inside and they realize that everyone else has on a mask and they need to go back to the car. It's quite frustrating for the persons, who forgot their mask. And I think there needs to be a better effort in trying to disseminate masks around throughout the country constantly, because most of the masks that are being disseminated or being used right now are the disposable the disposable one, and there's certain mask etiquette that you're supposed to to uphold
Yeah.
in terms of not touching on the outside and not wearing it too long.
And how long a disposable one should be used.
Yes, all that is information that we need to constantly push, even if it's public service. PSAs that we need to put out constantly about these things. I think we can survive here as a country, and I think even in a month's time, with all the community spreads now, we'll be at a different place, at a better place.
Yes.
But we need to enforce mask wearing and
some of the essential stuff.
Yeah, but we need to enforce those things because we just put them out there. Okay, you need to wear a mask, but there's really no one enforcing it.
Okay, we have a caller, but we first have to take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Had a look at those investment options yet?
Too busy. Look at today. Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed.
That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Radio Cayman News.
Help build true climate change resiliency for the Cayman Islands.
So we can not only bring our climate change policy and strategy up to date, but also do so from the most informed position possible.
Young people are business people. Young people are leaders.
It is our duty to protect because this is our home.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with us this morning, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Joey Hugh, and Member of Parliament, Mr. Dwayne Seymour. We do have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning. Good morning.
This is Emil Levy of Boston Town.
Yes, sir. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Not good. Not good at all. First of all, I'm calling for the second time on For the Record since you have been in operation. I have great concerns about my country and my people.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I would like to air some of these concerns to you and the public and to the members of the opposition. First of all, I would like to let you all know I have the coronavirus. Now, the country is in peril with this coronavirus, and if you look around the world, especially the United States, America doesn't have this disease under control. As a matter of fact, it is still out of control in America. As for us here in the Cayman Islands, we are like lost sheep at play, with leaders present day exposing our country to more and more danger, especially our elderly. I'm 68 years old, and I've been in this political arena with people helping to elect them helping the people of the Cayman Islands to try to choose proper leaders. It is hard since the days of Jim Borden, and we must realize that we, the people of this country, is in control of the country, not the leaders like Wayne Patton and the one from Georgetown, Kenneth Bryan, that's trying to run things down our throat instead of going to the people, even to have a referendum on opening the country. We are in perilous times. As I listened to the panels that's been talking lately to the public, such people as the great, I say great, Steve McPhail, who I listened to recently, and on a panel where, in my opinion, he is the only person on that panel that made sense. I listened to Wayne Patton, I listened to Kenneth Bryan, and they do not make sense trying to open the country before they get approval from the people. They are not mafia, they are not kings, and they are definitely not Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen that is listening to me, I want you to realize what they are trying to do. We don't have the virus under control in the Cayman Islands. It is spreading. I went to government administration recently, and I think that is where I picked it up. I am home in isolation, not able to do hardly anything, even to go and collect food. Now, my people, listen and listen very carefully. Wayne Patton and Kenneth Bryan is only the premier and the minister of tourism. They're not our bosses. They're not the ones on this island that sounds like they have any genuine sense. I talked to Kenneth Bryan recently, and he is acting like he's some dominant mafia. Let me tell him especially something. Emil S. Levy has helped the people of Georgetown. What are you doing for the people of Georgetown? We have a family that I helped to rebuild their house in Georgetown. You gave people in Georgetown tar paper, not the blue tar paper, tarpaulin, I mean, to put over their roof. Then realistically, you have beggars, homeless, and a whole lot of drug abusers in Georgetown.
Okay, do you have any suggestions for us rather than beating the drum in terms of criticism? Any suggestions in terms of reopening?
My suggestion is before we open this country, we should let the people decide.
Okay.
That we do have a democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am talking today for the genuine first time, OC. I've asked you to put me on the record to talk to the public, but I haven't had that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne Patton, I want to give you credit, you and Alden McLaughlin, for doing what you did to keep the country safe for as long as you did.
Mm-hmm. Who do you mean there? Dwayne Seymour? You said Dwayne Patton. Okay.
No, Dwayne Seymour.
Okay.
Dwayne Seymour and Alden McLaughlin.
Got you. Okay.
They kept the country safe and did their best to secure the people of the Cayman Islands' well-being so that this virus wouldn't spiral out of control. And if you notice, the minute that their other government and the new government took place, the virus out of control. I want to say something especially to Mr. Steve McPhail, please, if you allow me.
Okay, I have about 2 minutes before I go to the commercial break.
No problem. Mr. Steve McPhail, I listened to you very carefully, and it's my opinion that you should be one of the very, very important leaders of this country in the government. I know that I went to you one time and asked you if you would run to become a member of this country's government, but you didn't take the opportunity to do so. Last night I watched you as you was on the panel, and you held up a green book explaining of how this man, I think another Caymanian, I remember his name at the time, was prosecuted, illegally arrested, illegally imprisoned, illegally dragged through the mud, and spent time, I think, in jail. I am also one of those people. Emil S. Leavitt was illegally arrested, illegally charged, illegally imprisoned, and spent 13 months behind bar for nothing, just an accusation. When are we going to have a real clean government?
Okay. I want to thank that caller for that. We have to take a commercial break. Folks, when we return, the conversation with the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Joey Hugh, as well as Member of Parliament, Mr. Dwayne Seymour will continue, so please stay tuned.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vant Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road. Brand Source Home Gallery is celebrating their 52nd anniversary with a 15% off store-wide sale this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday only. Yes, 15% off everything in store. Appliances, vanities, sinks, housewares, mattresses, plumbing fixtures, barbecue grills, and more. Brand Source Home Gallery store-wide sale, 3 days only. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Hurry! Don't miss this opportunity to save 15%. Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Call 949-5211.
FedEx Delivery. Share this season with everyone by shipping your rum cakes and gifts with 30% off and get an additional 20% on your next shipment. Visit us. Restrictions apply.
Come on, Cayman. Let's get ready to reopen. Countries all over the world are proving life can go on and we can safely coexist with COVID-19 in our community. With open borders, our readiness will be vital to protect each other and our islands. We can do this. Have your voice heard and pledge you are ready to safely reopen. Visit reopencayman.com. Join the movement and pledge that you are ready to reopen on November 20.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We do have a caller, but before we go to that caller, Mr. Hugh, you were speaking in terms of the reopening and the level 4 status that we're at. I just want to share with you and our audience a statement put out by the Minister of Tourism yesterday, and part of it reads, it says, given that we are close to reopening the borders, it is understandable that the travel advisory is raising concerns, particularly in relation to tourism. But the reality is, the move to level 4 does not automatically mean that the Cayman Islands tourism industry will be negatively affected. Looking around the region and beyond, being at level 4 has not been shown to have any long-term or immediate negative impacts on the economies or tourism products of our competitors who were placed there before us and are now at level 3. The Cayman Islands is expected to follow suit. Additionally, the Ministry of Tourism has not received any indication from the tourism stakeholders that this move by the CDC presents a major hurdle. Neither has there been any suggestion that vacation bookings are being cancelled due to the CDC rating. On the contrary, we do not expect that visitors will be deterred, and the Department of Tourism stands by its projection that the Cayman Islands will remain on a path of slow and steady growth following the reopening of our borders on the 20th of November. So I'll get you to respond to that after we take this caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to the Honorable Deputy Leader and Mr. Dwayne Seymour.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Very quickly, we have had a decision of the Grand Court judge in this in Cayman, which effectively might affect the way we manage COVID as well. In that, you see, there's a decision now of the Grand Court judge which says that a decision made by a UK court, it actually overrides a legislation which is clearly passed by the Legislative Assembly. I'm wondering whether, as members of the opposition, this is something that you are ready to work with government to ensure that there is that this decision is overruled. And the reason I'm saying that is because that fundamentally changes the constitutional relationship between the UK and Cayman. Meaning, for example, if there's a decision on COVID today in the UK, a decision of the court, it has the status of an order in council, and it can overrule any legislation that you pass in the Cayman Islands, including an act of parliament and including a regulation. Is that something that you are concerned about? Do you want to do something about it? I know I've written to the government. They haven't responded to me, but I'm asking you as opposition, does that concern you? Do you want to do something about that? That's my question. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Billy. Mr. Deputy Leader?
Sorry, OC. I didn't quite catch the full full gist of what he was asking there.
Okay, what he's saying is that there's a decision, a court decision that says that legislation passed in the UK and a decision of a UK court is applicable to the Cayman Islands. So, for instance,
right.
Any decision in relation to COVID-19 could affect the Cayman Islands, and whether or not we're going to look at that decision and see whether or not it should be challenged.
Yeah, so they have the ability to pass legislation for us in the UK, but in the last round of negotiations that our government made, we were able to get them to add into that they had to consult us first.
Mm-hmm. But this is a court decision now he's talking about.
A court decision?
Yes, yeah.
That would be...
the AG?
That would be with the AG, and that would be interesting. Mm-hmm. In particular, if it came to the courts, perhaps a decision would influence our courts in their decisions, but it would be very difficult for the courts to instruct our parliament to pass any sort of legislation. Mm-hmm. That would have to come through, and unfortunately, we had negotiated to remove the section of the I think it's 51, the last section of the Constitution, which allows a governor to pass legislation. Yes. We had negotiated that out, but the UK government then decided to have that renege on that because of our parliament turning down the civil unions
civil partnership
bill at the time. So I mean, it's certainly nothing would surprise me these days, but I would find it, as you know, even locally, the courts can recommend to the government, which was the situation with the civil partnerships, recommend to the government that you amend legislation. But other than that, I think it'd be very difficult to see them make a decision that would amend our legislation without it going through the governor doing it, or without consultation with the Cayman Islands, as has been agreed in the latest reiteration of the Constitution or amendments.
Okay. Yeah. So I did share with you some of the excerpts from the release issued by the Minister of Tourism, the Honourable Kenneth Bryan, in relation to reopening and us being at level 3.
Right.
4.
Level 4
now.
Level 4.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is yet to be seen, and I have to agree that the minister must have that level of optimism when speaking to this. I think that even further compounds my concerns earlier about getting one opportunity at this reopening. It is one thing, people, there's what we would consider pent-up demand by those loyal to the Cayman Islands, and perhaps some of those may take advantage of specials, whatever, but, we get one chance to get them back. And we need to make this, if we're going to do this, and when we do this, and the government has indicated that it will be on the 20th, then we get one chance at it. We have to do it properly for two reasons. One is to secure that 50% rate of return that we've been accustomed to, and win back those that perhaps have chosen other islands that were open while we were closed, and two, for the protection of our people. And we have to balance that. We cannot afford to overreact on either side of that spectrum. So we have to ensure that our people will be protected, and we have to ensure that our guests will have an enjoyable stay without an overly amount of testing, restrictions, etc. And it has to be clear. And this is, again, I go back to my initial statements. That's what, it isn't clear. I'm speaking to people, and those guidelines, the broad stroke guidelines are out there, but the intricacies of it have not been explained to them yet. We have 10 days to go, including a weekend. We have not heard from the government. They have not had a press conference. They've not been on your talk show. We've gotten videos and we've gotten snippets on YouTube, which not everyone, and the people that are most concerned aren't watching these YouTube videos. The Premier appeared on one online tabloid. Where is the official communication? At a time when it counts most, and I don't understand it. You can go on to the I don't know how accurate it is, but you can go on to a country as big as America and look at the COVID results, and it's actually ticking as you're watching it it's being reported as you're watching it. We're waiting 3, 4, 5 days before we give results. That is not helping the cause. Reporting, if they were able to, and I know Dr. Lee did a press release yesterday. I don't think it was a video, but I read it. It was very, very, I must say, it was a little challenging to read in its flow. But he was trying to explain that, don't be so concerned about the big numbers that are being released because they're over several days.
Right, yeah.
What we should be kind of looking at is the individual daily numbers, hospitalization numbers, and then we could perhaps take from that and have to. But they're actually asking people to become analysts and mathematicians to go in and look at what the daily average is and whether or not our average is increasing or decreasing. Our percentages to the amount of people being tested versus other jurisdictions, etc. These are the things that should be coming out daily from the government to put people at ease. This is about, and I'm speaking now strictly in the terms that, and we just heard from the tourism minister that we are opening, so I'm speaking from that perspective. The country needs strong, confident leadership at this time. Our leaders, every one of them, there are some ministers that we have not heard a word from since they've been elected publicly, need to get out front of the country and tell the country that we, as Wayne put it as a Premier, my mistake, my apologies, as Honourable Premier put it a couple of months ago, we got this. When we asked him what's happening, we want to help, he said, we got this. Same level of confidence. They need to all get out there now, get in front of the people and reassure the people that they are doing this in the best interests of the country, with the safety and security of the people in mind, and we are confident in what we are doing. Give people that, because you are the leaders of this country. You are the ones that the people look to say, what's happening? Am I going to be safe? Is my business going to be okay? Get out there and reassure people. If you had one bad news conference, that's okay. Get back out there, learn from it, and get in front of them again.
Yeah.
At a time when we need you most, you have stopped doing press conferences. Your last press conference, you limited or you silenced the press on questions. No, this is not the time. We need you now. The country needs you. My phone is blowing up every day. People are calling me every day. This morning I was a few minutes late because I was on telephone calls. People are concerned. People are confused. People are truly, truly worried. And our leaders need to get out front there. I remember, and you always are told to be careful what you say because it's always recorded. I remember the Minister of Tourism on your show promising to make weekly appearances, to always be there and informing the people, the transparency part of the pact. Why have they stopped now? This is not the time. This is not a criticism. This is what I'm being told daily by my constituents, by others within the community. Please get out there and lead the country. Let us feel reassured come the 20th that we are going to have a pleasant experience for our guests and we're going to protect our people.
Okay, we're going to go to headline news at 9 o'clock. When we return, I want you to think about this, the fact that we've only had 2 deaths and they were early during the COVID-19 period. What level of confidence and what level of assurance that gives you now that we've had the increase in the number of infections? How does that the fact that we have not had any more deaths, how does that translate, and what level of confidence can we display as a result of that? Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government reported the results of 1,259 COVID-19 tests on Tuesday evening. 73 came back positive. There are currently 2,185 active cases with 14 hospitalizations. So far, only 77% of the estimated population is fully vaccinated. Countries are being urged to strengthen their carbon-cutting targets by the end of 2022 in a draft agreement published at the COP26 Glasgow Climate Summit. The document says vulnerable nations must get more help to cope with the deadly impacts of global warming. It also says countries should submit long-term strategies for reaching net zero by the end of next year. The UK Supreme Court has rejected a claim that sought billions of pounds in damages from Google over alleged illegal tracking of millions of iPhones. The judge said the claimant had failed to prove damage had been caused to individuals by the data collection, but he did not rule out the possibility of future mass action lawsuits if damages could be calculated. The case will have implications for similar mass action lawsuits. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Joey Hugh, Member of Parliament, Honourable Dwayne Seymour. We do have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. Minister Brian here. How are you doing?
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. How you doing, Ken?
I want to say good morning to my favorite cousin in the whole world, the Honourable Deputy Opposition Leader, and my other cousin, the elected member for Borden Town East.
All in the family.
Good morning. I appreciate the necessary pressure from the opposition members this morning, and there's a level of truth to some of the things they've said in respect to continued giving confidence to the public, and hence the reason for my phone call, where that the Park administration is very confident about the reopening on the 20th, and we hope to have some communications with the press, hopefully by the end of this week, as we slowly start to iron out the last little bit of kinks. But fundamentally, nothing much has changed. We are intending to open on the 20th with the protocols that we have said, with the testing regimes for persons who meet the criteria for no quarantine. And as we have already said, it will only be for persons that are fully vaccinated and come from countries that are 20% or more in their vaccination rates. So outside of the outline as to how each business will operate under this new reopening strategy, we've been talking directly to industry, the stakeholders themselves, particularly like giving them guidelines to what to do in their businesses. So though we may not have had a public press briefing in the last, I think it's a week and a half, 2 weeks now, since we've had one, we have been speaking to the stakeholders involved who would be mostly affected, particularly that in the tourism industry. So yes, it may be perceived that there's not as much communication, but as the deputy opposition leader well knows, you make sure you have all your answers ready before you start talking. So I just wanted to call in to give the country that reassurance, and particularly the business community, which I know he supports tremendously, because he's in support of reopening. I'm assuming, if he's not, maybe he can say so, but I'm assuming that he is in support of it, because we've got to get our tourism back up and going, but do it so safely. Hence the reason for making sure that we get all of our ducks in a row and be prepared for that, particularly with the high numbers of cases that we have here locally that is being managed appropriately. And I think that we can still be a level of comfort to know that there's not a large amount of people in the hospital, and those who are in the hospital are not severely sick. This transition phase is quite similar to what many other countries have gone through, and I know the members in the audience are in the studio also are aware of that. So there's though the numbers are high, I think the thing that most people should pay attention to, and I guess the average person, like the deputy opposition leader has highlighted, are not doctors, so they wouldn't know what to analyze. But like Dr. Lee has tried to, as much as he possibly can, give people the reassurance that though the numbers of test positive are high, the good news with our high vaccination rates, that people are not severely sick. And that's the signal that we need to be focusing on. And I guess when the next press briefing comes, you'll hear that more again from myself, the Honourable Premier, who is the leader of our government, as well as the Health Minister and all those associated with supporting this government. So I want to chime in because, you know, I'm not shy to join the conversation in any capacity.
Mr. Brian.
Yes.
Yeah, would I be able to ask you just 2 quick questions?
Yes, my brother, man. You know, I don't shy away.
No, and these are questions that are coming to me from others. Has the government decided on exactly how and who will be? Is it every tourist, including those who are staying in the major hotels, to those who have rented an Airbnb, that have to do the test on the 2nd, 5th, and 10th day after arrival? And is this mandatory or is this voluntary? And what happens if the test comes back positive?
Well, all of those details will be released shortly,
okay.
And we'll hear them like everybody else. But it's interesting that you know that we changed it from the 2nd, the 6th, and the 10th to the 5th. So you must have some insider information. But yes, we have changed it from the 2nd to the 5th to the 10th.
Just
respect to industry. In respect to industry requirements, to say the short time of stay, the 6th day wasn't the most practical. So I spoke with Dr. Lee. I said, Dr. Lee, from a medical perspective, do you think the 5th day will still adhere to the safety requirements necessary? And he said, yes, hence the reason we changed it to the 5th. And industry appreciated that from the Tourism Association perspective. But yes, everybody, as per our protocols, will be obligated, regardless if they're tourists, in a major hotel, and Airbnb, or even Caymanians who are going to take advantage of this opportunity to take a travel. Sometimes we forget that, but even the data that we are seeing at Cayman Airways, there are many Caymanians who are excited to be able to travel, and when they come back home, they won't have to use their vacation time in quarantine. So they will also have to be obligated to take those tests on the 2nd, the 5th, and the 10th day. So all the details per that will be announced when we do our press conference, and everybody will be informed as to how that goes. So there was a second question, right? Opposition?
Yeah, I did. And please, if you are not, if you don't have the information readily available on this one, just say so and I'll completely understand. The other question was the recent decision made by the Airports Authority, or I think it might have been the firm that they have contracted to do the scheduling, that it actually says business jets can only...
Yes, I rectified that just yesterday, and thank you for bringing that up. It was brought to my attention by others. Now, obviously, in light of...
sorry, so the public doesn't know it. It said that...
I was going to explain it for them.
Okay, go ahead.
In light of all of the limited space that we have, the problem that we're finding is that there's a lot of high net worth individuals who like to travel to the Cayman Islands for vacation, so they may come for 5 or 6 or 7 days with their families, and they stay at a nice luxury hotel and create job opportunities for our people. But as the country becomes more and more attractive, more and more people want to come, particularly at certain times, the high peaks, whether it's Thanksgiving or whether it's Christmas, and those peaks. And as a result, we had limited space on the tarmac, because normally what would happen is a high net worth person would come, they park their plane there for the period of time upon which they stay. Now, if you have 50 high net worth individuals come to stay at one time, obviously we have limited capacity. But I'm happy to know that we're making resolutions to that, because we don't want a high net worth individual choosing not to come to the Cayman Islands because there's no parking facility. We expect to repeal that. I was just talking to the CEO as well as the chairman of CIAA just yesterday about the matter. It was brought to my attention by industry, and I thank them so much for that. And we will resolve that so our high net worth individuals can continue to travel to the Cayman Islands. So I appreciate you bringing it to my attention, and we will find the space necessary, because we do make a revenue on that as well. When they park over a long period of time, CIAA collects monies from them. So we don't want to reduce any revenue opportunities at this particular point. So we will resolve that as well.
Minister?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to ask quick question in terms of the spacing of arrival of the aircrafts. It was going to be 1 hour spacings, and will the hotels be able to, or will they be registered to do the testing for tourists?
You mean at the airport or at the hotels?
At the hotels, the 2nd and 50 and testings.
Well, those details will definitely come out in the press brief. I think those are the finer ones that everybody wants to know how the protocol of the testing will be done. And with the health minister involved, I want to make sure that his answers are 100% correct and not holding me accountable. But I like the fact that you guys are joining in with all these questions. I almost think you guys should be over on our side. But the door is open at any time if you guys want to come over. But I don't want to have the press conference today on the radio show, even though Radio Cayman is the best radio station in the country and is deserving to be the one broadcasting it. I want to make sure that I respect the fact that the health minister is in charge of those questions, and she will answer them. And I know the details everybody wants to know, and we're working on fine-tuning, so we are 100% correct with every single detail, because all those details matter, particularly to the opposition members.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
And listening, tuning in closely, particularly to my good cousin, the opposition leader. All right, take care, guys.
Okay, thank you very much, Minister, for calling in as well. Thank you.
All right.
Certainly appreciate it.
Also, truth be told, in terms of the Cayman Islands, we have not had a death from local community spread, which is something that we should applaud. Although we had 2 persons that died here, and we must respect their families, etc.
Sure.
Whether they were flown in here or not, and but no one really knows the reason why the Cayman Islands is handling this coronavirus infections throughout the community so well. I think there's only about 14 persons that are hospitalized, and I called and asked the question if anyone was on ventilators, etc. No one is on ventilator, so nothing too serious. There must be something that us as a government, and I'll take the credit that we did in the start to ensure that we got to this point, and then the government continued. The government of the day continued on some of those policies and so forth. But maybe it's the salt spray on this low-lying island that sweeps our land that causes us not to be as infected, or there's a different strain that is here in the Cayman Islands. Maybe it's the shots we got when we were younger. I don't know.
Or the level of vaccination that we have now over 80%?
Yes, the level of vaccination has something, and we could talk about vaccinations a bit later also, and booster shots, which is very interesting. But I find it comforting that the government, Minister Bryan just called in and said that the government is actually talking behind the scenes to stakeholders, so at least the stakeholders will be ready and understands what the government is trying to achieve and helping give input so that they can arrive to one place together. But I also wanted to say that businesses are hurting. Something that a lot of people are not talking about, OC, is that before the community spread, we had a situation where businesses were hurting because the borders were closed. Now businesses are actually hurting because, remember, and I hope the businesses don't forget the part that the locals played in terms of staying at hotels and supporting restaurants and supporting the local business infrastructure. And now I'm getting really concerned now with the community spread that is happening because persons are not venturing to go out to restaurants and bars and hotels as much now because everybody's so scared to catch the coronavirus.
But that's not something that we can pin on the government or on any government, especially when they put the advice out there and the guidelines for people to follow, but people fail to follow them, and as a result, it's the people who are contributing to the spread, not necessarily.
And there's some people that are positive, which is very sad, that know they're positive, but because of, and one of the things that we need to really pay attention to, and we need to put greater emphasis on, and not only the emphasis, but we need to create ease. And what I'm talking about is those persons who are positive, that know that if they advise their job, their employer, that they automatically are not being paid from that day they're not at work. So these are some of the things that needs to be once a person registers then with the HSA or whoever, and it's considered that they're positive, and that information is sent somewhere, those persons should be immediately given some kind of help, stipend or otherwise to try to deflect some of that. Because this is the reason why persons are disobeying the rules.
So you need to incentivize them in some way or the other, some reassurance that if you test positive, if you report it, and then you do that PCR test and it is confirmed positive, we're going to do what we can to help it. And the $1 million that the government put aside, you would have thought that would be used for something like that as well. It might be intended for that. We do have to take a commercial break. I've gone beyond the period of time, and we do have a caller as well. We will take that call as soon as we return. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Brand Source Home Gallery is celebrating their 52nd anniversary with a 15% off store-wide sale this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday only. Yes, 15% off everything in store. Appliances, vanities, sinks, housewares, mattresses, plumbing fixtures, barbecue grills, and more. Brand Source Home Gallery store-wide sale, 3 days only. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Hurry! Don't miss this opportunity to save 15%. Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Call 949-5211.
FedEx Delivery. Share this season with everyone by shipping your rum cakes and gifts with 30% off and get an additional 20% on your next shipment. Visit us. Restrictions apply.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Joey Hugh, as well as Member of Parliament, Honourable Dwayne Seymour. We do have one caller, and while Minister Bryan was on, I did receive a WhatsApp message, but I was unable to ask the question, and I'm not sure whether or not at this point in time he would have been in a position to answer it, and it had to do with when persons deplane and they're in the terminal, whether or not that 6 foot distance has to be observed as well. So, we do have one person curious about that. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Okay.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that the Minister of Tourism is listening, because my concern is basically addressed to him and the government in terms of the information and how it is packaged to the public. I could never ever think in my mind that the government is sitting down, not doing anything, and not trying their best to prevent the community spread that we're now experiencing.
Exactly.
And to look out for the best interest of the country.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they're doing a good job in terms of how they package their information to the public. We have a census taking place now, and with one song, I believe there was total clarity amongst the public as to what is taking place, why it is taking place, and who are involved. The key components were captured in that song, and it grabbed everybody, and everybody know what's happening. And I think the government, I don't know if they're just taking the information from the program board and just passing it over, but they need to find some way to package it to allow the general public to understand what is happening and why it is happening, and I think they would get more buy-in that way from the general public. That's one thing. I hope they would consider the way that they package the information to the public. But I would like to speak to the leader of the opposition and say that I believe the deputy leader of the opposition, that is one of the most underrated politician on the island, but having some experience with him, I believe that he is no doubt one of the best. And I say that because even at a time when he himself was on one leg, literally, he was looking to put the country on as much legs as possible. When they came up with the idea of the Strategic Economic Advisory Council, that even the current minister now boasts the benefit of it in terms of the economic activity on the island. But my question to him, though, is what economic modeling does he see fits best for the country going forward? And I steer his mind in the same direction of where he brought together all the industries, stakeholders together, and came up with a strategy that even today is still taking place in terms of construction and development and all the service industry that is connected to that. So I'm wondering what kind of modeling, economic modeling, he's seen once I don't know if that would include the tourism and how much of what percentage of that can be extracted to include in the economic activity going forward. And since I'm going to hang up and listen, I would just like to seek some clarity from the former Minister of Health to ask him if we had an agreement with Cuba in terms of human resources, just in case we get a worst case scenario, that we can tap into that particular avenue for assistance.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, caller, for that, gentleman.
Okay, I'd like to thank the caller for calling in and also his kind words. You never know where those comments would go, so it was interesting sitting here listening. I smiled when he talked about literally on one foot. And we've been talking about the press conferences and stuff, and I remember being at the press conference and hopping over and standing on one foot, and I wasn't in the chair, standing behind the podium on one foot and taking questions or giving my statement, taking questions, and then the one foot that I was standing on fell asleep. And I had to cut it short because I was going to fall because I was losing feeling in the other foot. So it was just some levity to it there. He reminded me of that. But again, we were committed to it, and we did those press conferences on a weekly basis, and we kept the country informed, and many people were concerned about their businesses and the future of the country economically. The Special Economic Council that I formed, it was certainly a bipartisan council. There were persons that were appointed that I know were going to be against the government in the upcoming elections, but the committees felt that these were the people that would be best to represent the five major categories of industry that we identified. And coming out of that, I think the two key things that came out of that and some of the lessons learned from the COVID pandemic was that of the need for the country to advance technologically. And we talked about this is why the huge push on the National ID program, electronic ID program, with both digital and electronic signatures, and the ability to have data on our people and contact people and not have to guess about numbers and who and that all of that information would have been so useful as we shut down the country, as we went to reopen the country, as we tried to identify who would need the most help at what times.